Welcome to Help the Helpers on Jim's actual 80th birthday. And we are really looking forward to hearing Katarina talk about sleeping and waking. And this is part 2. And I missed part 1, so I'm really looking forward to that because waking up in the middle of the night and not going back to sleep, it's terrible. Okay, Katarina, we're all set.
Yes, so welcome. Almost everyone is here that was here last time. And we will have slides again. And in the time in between, I've learned how to make even spiffier slides.
Oh, that is a real art that I haven't mastered at all.
Do you see that one?
Uh-huh. Oh, good. Will somebody read it out loud?
Yes, please do. Who's going to read the slide?
Less and less do you need to force things until finally you arrive at non-action. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone.
That's a wonderful birthday saying there.
Dao De Ching, Stephen Mitchell translation, but not the other Stephen Mitchell.
Mm-mm.
So for those who have arrived, it is Jim's birthday today. And Lynn has 2 candles, don't you?
Well, this isn't exactly a candle, but it's
Yeah. And
it's
the other one is
ceremonial disc.
yeah. So some of you are new, but most of you were here last time. And we had such a diverse discussion, didn't we? About the unconscious becoming conscious with Marianne. And Marga, you resonated with the practices so much. And Lynn is coming today for the first time. And Liz says, how do we sleep? Is that what you said, Liz? Yeah. Well, the sleeping is part of our natural rhythm, and the waking also is part of the natural rhythm. So this series is looking at ways that we cultivate and make room for and welcome the waking as well as the sleeping. We are welcoming lots of new people now. Let's see. Marcel, have we met you already? Would you like to say a bit about yourself?
I don't think I've officially met y'all. I've been here once. I'm a graduate of Charlotte's course,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's where it first came across Lynn. So can't always make these because of the hours, but happy to be here this morning.
Welcome, welcome.
Yes, welcome. And who else would we like to welcome who's new? Maybe there's nobody new.
I think you could continue, Katerina.
Yes, we will. We'll do the slides and we'll do them properly this time. There. So here's the title of our project. And even though I'm giving focusing lessons and other kinds, I identify myself today as an author for 3 things that I wrote. And there are the titles. And now a slide. Who's going to read this one? Marga, would you like to read it?
Not really. Sorry, Katarina.
It's good
That's
to
all
be
right.
able to say that.
Well, here's another one. Who would like to read this one? Jim, this is yours. Are you going to read it, Jim?
One cannot solve a problem any old way. There cannot be a feedback object, a carrying forward of a complexity any old way. The change in the formation is not the same as the change inherent in feeling the direct reference once it is there. The formation is murky, then suddenly the further formation is what the direct referent falls out from as a stable object or datum. For some seconds or minutes, sometimes months, the falling out does not occur. It is nothing like turning and reflecting on what is there waiting. It is a very special formation. When it falls out, every bit of that sequence is exactly what the previous bit required, and the object made by that sequence is a perfect feedback object. Emphasis added by Katarina. And this comes from the 1997 version of a process model. However, it seems to me identical to the 2017 version as I remember it.
It is, yes, it is, yes. Wow.
Beautiful.
Well, would someone like to read it again? It's such a, oh yes, please, Susan, read it, yes.
See, one cannot solve the problem any old way. There cannot be a feedback object, a carrying forward of a complexity any old way. The change in the formation is not the same as the change inherent in feeling the direct reference once it is there. The formation is murky. Then suddenly, the further formation is what the direct referent falls out from as a stable object or datum. For some seconds or minutes, sometimes months, the falling out does not occur. It is nothing like turning and reflecting on what is there waiting. It is a very special formation. When it falls out, every bit of that sequence is precisely what the previous bit required, and the object made by that sequence is a perfect feedback object.
Mm.
Oh, wonderful.
Would you like me to explain it?
Yes,
Oh,
I was
yes.
just wishing for that. That was my wish.
Well, I can't because it's no longer up there. But I'll
Oh,
explain it
you
from
know
my
it by heart by now.
First of all, you should know by the direct reference, he's really talking about a felt sense.
Right.
And he's saying that the felt sense is not there waiting for you to discover it. It has to form. And it can take months to form. And wish I had the quote up there. I know I'm leaving parts out. But it's a perfect feedback object in that it is the, here it comes.
What is a feedback object?
Well, you're focusing, you're presenting your body with a problem, and you say, can you give me any feedback on this? And it's the perfect feedback object in that it is what you've been looking for.
What's the perfect feedback object? The body?
It is the direct reference, which is the experience of the felt sense.
This is what comes or
It
what
falls
is
out,
what falls out? Okay.
which means it wasn't there before.
Yeah.
and suddenly it appears.
It's born.
Can take months.
It's kind of like your eureka moment.
Mm.
Ah, yes, that's it.
The
Mm.
eureka moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that experience, that aha, satisfies all of the requirements of the felt sense, of the longing, of the problem. So
It's what
Katarina,
you.
oh, I'm
It's
sorry.
what you've been. No, it's what you've been waiting for, in a sense.
Yes,
you-
yes.
When you have Isadora Duncan there with her, so she finally finds this. That's it.
It's like when it's your birthday, you get a perfect birthday present.
Only Jim, only you would know.
Let's look again at the one just before that, which was up here, which was here. Yes. And let's see if somebody would like to read this one. Maybe I'll read it. And then someone else can read it too. A kinetic intelligence is forging its way in the world, shaping and being shaped by the developing dynamic patterns in which it is living. Thus, again, we see that possibilities at any given moment do not stand out as so many recourses to action. Possibilities are adumbrated in the immediacy of the evolving situation itself. A situation that moment by moment opens up a certain world and certain kinetic ways of being in that world. So that's from Maxine Johnstone, The Primacy of Movement.
Huh.
Maybe we'll talk about it, and if somebody wants to read it again in a moment. But first, what about our water or our jug of tea? Those who were there the last time, and we welcome the new people. Is there somebody new besides you? Marcel has come to be with us today from Charlotte Hoover's training. That Dorothy was there too, weren't you? And Alistair, we have lots of graduates from Charlotte training. So the water, you tap it lightly. Or you can imagine. Would somebody like to say about it, or shall I? Why do we tap the water? So that we can see it jumping in the jug, and we can be aware of the amount of pressure. We don't want to hit it too hard, because then the water would go everywhere, and even the jug might break. So we are taking smaller steps, lighter taps, and can hold the side of your face. Who's going to demonstrate from last time? Margaret, do you remember? We hold the chin, the side of your face, as you sip a sip of water. Or it can be an imagined sip. And what happens? Your tongue goes to the roof of your mouth. And when your tongue goes to the roof of your mouth, your whole spine has a wonderful flow from the sky to the earth. What else about that swallow? We said it was the adult swallow, as adults swallow that way, that we happen to swallow when we have our jug. And babies, they swallow a bit differently. That was our little practice, our anchory practice from September 15. Sometimes you can just hold the side of your face down your neck. You can imagine, or you can brush all the way down to your belly. And that's the path of the 10th cranial nerve. Goes all that way. And that's the polyvagal nerve, where we have all these elaborate and interesting hypotheses, theories. We will look at one of the research projects today, as I'd like to encourage focusing people to join more with the polyvagal people, and then we have more interest in focusing as well when we have more research projects, with a grain of salt. So let's see, would you like to say something or ask a question?
Well, I just wondered if you were going to tell us how the quotes help us with sleeping, but I think you'll get to that. So I don't want to anticipate it too much.
Yes, last time Steph was here and she said how the focusing questions were helping before sleeping, to clearing the space, finding the what is it that is emerging. So we have many, many ways, and we welcome Mikhail. Mikhail, we just had the water jumping in the jug, holding the side of the face. Mikhail is bouncing in his chair. And that's what we'll do today. We will do some bouncing. It can be in the chair, or it can be standing up too. Would you like to stand up? So those who would, you could stand up and maybe have your hands crossed over on your sternum. Or if you prefer to sit in the chair, you can sit in the chair. Yes, some people are standing. And we make a little tapping sound with the heel of our feet or with our sitting bones on the chair. You have a wooden floor, you can hear it or you can imagine it. Alessandra has a wooden floor. And we make the sound of the heartbeat while we tap. Bum, 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 bum. Just a few times. Bum, bum. And just with that 20% of bouncing on our sitting bones or on our heels, just that little bit. We'll do this each quarter hour, the way last time we had the water. Each quarter hour. And I'm really interested to hear whether you've been practicing that sipping of the water. Have you, Liz? The sip and holding the side of your face. We've had two quotes, very special quotes that relate to each other. Now we'll have another slide that is more academic. But first, do you have anything you want to say or ask?
Katarina, I just missed when I get a lot of information, sometimes I have trouble internalizing it. And could you just say again two things? One, I've always been curious when people say, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, what that actually does. And then how it helps to take the sip of water and hold the side of your face, what that does for us.
Well, let's explore it. When you hold, sometimes if a child has been good or not so good, don't you say, "Oh, you're so dear"? You hold the face. Does that resonate for some of you? Oh, yes, you're so good. And this holding the side of the face, down the side of your neck, you can brush all the way down to your belly. And this brushing can actually begin a little higher up, and it can brush all the way down to your belly. Maybe it's comforting to have that brush, is it?
Mm-hmm.
And in the scientific realm, we have the cranial nerves, the nerves that come from the brain, and the 10th cranial nerve is the vagus nerve. That's its name. And out of that developed a polyvagal theory. So I'll just go slowly here, and Dorothy can say if that resonates.
Yeah. No, it's certainly it's very soothing. It reminds me of that technique where you touch your face and touch parts of your body. I can't remember the name of it, but
Emotional freedom technique.
Oh.
And that's quite, there's so many different ways.
It reminds me of being the cat that I'm petting. And I always, envy little guy for getting all these pets. So if I do this, it's like I'm being the cat that's being petted.
Liz, you would say something?
Katarina, is it implied that these are things to do to help us fall asleep? Because I wanted to go back to the sleep situation.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
This polyvagal thoughts is that we have branches of this vagus nerve. We have the parasympathetic, which is the calming, gentle, easing, sleepy kind of feeling. And then the sympathetic, which is lively. And oh my goodness, we're going to have another candle for Jim's birthday. And maybe we'll sing again since there's so many of us here. And then there is this softer tone of voice that is slower. So we have these two that weave together constantly. And for sleeping, we like a predominance of the calmer energy, if you like to call it that. to cultivate the balance between parasympathetic and lively sympathetic, there are many, many, many ways. Everybody has their own way because we all have been sleeping. Then we make room for it. This is why I brought the two favorite quotes at the beginning. The one from Eugene about the formation of the felt sense process, and of Maxine Sheets Johnstone about, forging our way in the world. So we slow down because, Dorothy, I don't want to go too fast. So we were holding the side of her face, we're tracing that cranial nerve. And the brushing itself is comforting. And the water, when you have a sip or an imaginary sip, your tongue goes to the roof of your mouth. Maybe Mikhail might like to say something about it. Would you? Is he speaking?
What do you want me to say, Katarina? What are you trying to titillate me to offer? What would you like to know?
Yes, you also do a form of cultivating practices with movements. And I thought I would include you. Anybody could speak up whenever you like. So we're at 1:15. So we have another slide. And you can interrupt me anytime. So we had, this one was only read once. Who might like to read it a second time? About the immediacy of the evolving situation.
I can read it.
Oh,
It's
please.
Charles. A kinetic intelligence is forging its way in the world, shaping and being shaped by the developing dynamic patterns in which it is living. Thus, again, we see the possibilities at any given moment do not stand out as so many recourses of action. Possibilities are adumbrated, overshadowed in the immediacy of the evolving situation itself. A situation that, moment by moment, opens up a certain world and certain kinetic ways of being in that.
Katarina, could you just tell us who Maxine is? Because I love that, but I don't think I've
Yes.
heard her.
So, yes.
I admit that.
Yes, Maxine Sheets Johnstone. She is a philosopher and a dancer and a very beautiful writer. She wrote the primacy of movement, and she wrote several books. I met her in 2014 in Oregon, in Yachats on the ocean. And I wrote a story about that, which is called Wind at My Back, because I was in the wind, and the wind was so strong that I could just float there in the wind and find a way forward. she would love to come and be our speaker at Help for Helpers, and maybe in the new year. Do you see the similarities between Maxine and Jean Gendlin?
The similarities and the differences. I think Jean is saying that there's this openness and there's this living in the moment from which steps come. And I think she's saying something similar but in different language. I think Jean has more of a sense of pausing for a long time, if necessary, to let this formation come. And I don't see that so much in the second quote.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think Jean would love the phrase, the kinetic intelligence.
Yeah, because it's not purely conceptual. It only has the living energy of the living process, the body in it. I think that's where they would join.
So I'm getting the message that the energy and the rhythm of the body has a kind of intelligence and movement that we can participate in through little actions like this.
What about the bouncing? And making the little sound of the heartbeat as you bounce in the chair. Bump, 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 bump. And sometimes you can even make a little sound by tapping your chest. Can you hear that? Maybe not over the Zoom. But when you tap, you will hear the sound resonate when you say it at the same time. Bump, 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 bump.
It's kind of bringing an awareness to the natural organic flow of body rhythms so that you're encouraging the sleeping and the waking by participating in that movement.
Yes, and the waking is such a natural part of sleeping. Our ancestors would stir the fire in the night to keep everyone warm and then sleep again. So it's a very rhythmic process through the night. And waking up is so very natural. We can do or find something that is comforting to do during that waking up moment, but not anything too lively, because we're cultivating this parasympathetic, the soft, flowing, simple, quiet.
So we're not getting upset when we wake up in the night. We're accepting that as part of the rhythm of sleeping and waking, and just being with the waking up and the sleeping as a natural creature function.
Yeah, yeah. Just like the cat wants to go out, we say, oh, well, there you are, yes. Oh, waking up. And when we have these sound or sleep workshops, we the people sleep, and then we wake them up, and then they sleep again, and we wake them up. So we cultivate a rhythm that way. And that is for when people really do have difficulty and it needs a bit more tutoring, a bit more support to swing back into that rhythm. It happens beautifully. Now, I have lessons for people in China, so we have the translator in between, and we can listen to the melody of the Chinese language, and then practice, and then they sleep and wake up again. So that's something that developed from the Feldenkrais work. Michael Krugman, he had difficulty sleeping. He lived in New York City, and then he had lots and lots of people come for lessons, and he made 18 classical movements, and there are many more others. So this holding is something quite simple, and that's why I brought it. And the bouncing, actually, it comes from another Feldenkrais offshoot, which is called Bones for Life, which developed to help with osteoporosis. And actually, it's quite a nice complement to the sleep thing. So this sound, as Lynn observed, it just bringing forth what is already naturally there, that we might want to cultivate a bit more. So now,
Katarina,
yes.
well, just in terms of Michael Krugman, what I got from his book was that you start with calming during the day, during waking. If you have trouble sleeping, you need to start with finding ways to calm the system down during the daytime, not just wait until night, like meditation or various forms, or the practices that you're showing. One that he has where you hold the fingers in the thumb or whatever. These are all ways to bring a kind of going down as a parasympathetic system so that makes it easier to sleep at night, but start during the day. That was one of the big things for me from his book.
Every quarter hour throughout the day. And then if you miss one, you could do every half hour. Even just letting your gaze soften, following the breath for 2 whole cycles, every quarter hour. Can you imagine it? Or every half hour. Michael Krugman didn't say that. I've been saying that for years and have taught myself various things in that way. And today we're going to look at the neurological psycho safety scale. And we're going to look at this very highfalutin, complex psychometric system for the purpose of seeing how we might bring focusing to those people as well, and how the psychometrics can inform us as we're endeavoring to come closer to our sleeping rhythm. So are you ready to see that slide? So we had Maxine And then we had Gene. And now we have this subscale overview from the Neuroception of Psychological Safety Scale. And we'll read this fairly quickly because we want to, in the next, yes, because soon it will be breakout room. There's 3 areas: the social, engagement, compassion, and the bodily sensation. And these psychometricians, they have a way of scoring how people are situated in these 3 realms. So the social is feelings of being understood and having a sense of trust. The compassion is the empathy and caring. And the bodily, we know we've been looking at that a lot already. Now, here are the scales. These are the titles of the scales. So I'm welcoming you to wake up with your sympathetic, lively interest and choose which one would you like to look at.
Well, I would like the purpose and life scale personally.
Okay, so then we'll click page 50 here in the table of contents. So now if we click page 50, we have Jim chosen purpose of life scale. And we see how there are these 12 questions, and the others, most of them have a lot more questions. Maybe we just look at them, we don't need to read them. If you see one that really stands out for you, you'd be welcome to read it. And you can imagine somebody who completes this scale, and then there is a sense of interest even in reading the questions.
Can I
Hello,
ask you a question, Katarina?
Yes, you could.
Or, how did you get to this, and what is the context of why we're looking at this now?
Yes, the context of why we're looking at it now is I'd like to show you some of the other scales, and it might be more obvious. So this is the auditory one. How often do you respond to unexpected loud noises? And or how are you distracted when there's a lot of loud noise? So that shows a little bit the level of sensitivity. And
Can you say something about, do you use these scales, or what, why, what's the deal here with the, with these scales and what we're doing today? And can you just widen it a bit so we know what's happening?
Yes. Stephen Porges, who came up with the polyvagal theory, he came up with these scales as well, and he has some other systems. I have found that these scales, when in focusing circles, have been helpful in inspiring a deeper focusing process when people tune in to the very subtle nuances of the sensitivities. We're all sensitive in various ways, and some more visually, auditorily, or purpose of life oriented.
So are these scales that you would offer to people? Or are these scales that you do yourself? Or do you see what I mean? I'm I'm being a little pragmatic
Yes.
here about the usage of all of this.
Yes. I have a spreadsheet where I chart the various modalities and the focusing responses to the scale. I'm about to repeat myself, which it doesn't make sense, and I'm very aware that you'd like to have the breakout rooms, and we didn't want to give too much time for this.
What I'm receiving from all of this is that maybe, I mean, in the scales, there are names for several perceptive channels and their elements. And maybe by knowing more about these elements, we are broadening the felt sense as content of discussion in a way. Does that make sense? Like when you talk about the sensitivities about the auditory channels or the tactile channels. So maybe it would be great if you just translated what this means for you, what it does to your nervous system, and how does that impact a possible felt sense about other things. I mean, because people have asked questions about sleep. That's what I keep hearing.
I love the word that you had, Marga. You said broaden. That a scale like this with all these different, many variables, it can broaden our base from which a person could, a student, a client, a patient, could then have some entry into the focusing process with the experiencing scale. Many people are just thinking, slowly beginning to sense. And this scale, with its variety of questions and entry points, has been quite beautiful that way. People who just really don't feel and they really want to feel. We all know people like that. So this can be a springboard, and people who really want to have easy sleep and wake and sleep may find something. Oh, here's where I'm not sleeping. This is getting in the way. And from there, we can then deepen and find a step towards sleep, as well as these various physical practices that can calm some people down, but other people not at all. Liz, how's that? And Sachi, haven't heard from you yet today. Yes, let's hear you. Your microphone.
Does that mean that this helps us identify that how the arousal in our body is expressed that prevents it from calming down? This neuroception of psychological safety scale, that our body is aroused in so many different ways that we are not even aware of that. So having these, like, is this the auditory channel, or like why our thoughts are so aroused or racing that there's a particular reason? And this way of finding out what irks you, in the sensory system, and to go through that channel to calm that area down, and then we can reach to the other deeper level of calming down. Does that mean that?
Yes. And as you say that, I think of people who have been focusing a very long time, and I introduced the scale. Oh, yes, it brings a new perspective, a new avenue. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
interesting to me that we each have our own entrance points, and you're trying to give us, Katarina, these scales. Some people have that as an entry point. Some people have the physical touch as an entry point. Other people have music as an entry point. Philosophy, those quotes, I mean, I could go to sleep pondering them. um, it, and so you're giving us these different ways to enter the natural rhythms of the body.
Try them out. Yeah.
Different ways and ways of identifying where we have some difficulty, so that we can then have more of a map of where to focus our attention. I'm guessing that's what it sounds like to me.
Right.
Katerina, I'm wondering, like specifically with the auditory, I found those questions interesting because, like, I'm someone that's very jarred by sound. I jump, it's always been curious. And like, so I'm curious how you work with something like that. The assumption, as I read the questions under that, is that this is something that would be helpful to work on, to have a different level of response to
Oh,
or
well,
am I reading it wrong?
maybe first we just say hello. Oh, yes, I see you there. Just recognizing, oh, and since it's written down, it means other people have also been there, and just the welcoming of it and letting it be. And yes, of course, then eventually it becomes easier. Thank you, Dorothy. Good to bring that. And look at Mikhail, he has his hand up. Would you like to hear from him?
Yeah, I would like to say thank you, Dorothy, for talking.
Maybe first, Mikhail, please first reflect a little for Dorothy before diving in with what you
What?
want to say.
Exactly what I'm saying. I'm thanking Dorothy for bringing up what she said, like different levels of sensitivity. I think you brought that up, and how to interact with that idea in a way of maybe learning how to, for ourselves, let's say it like this, change our own patterns, the way we interact with what we do right now. I'm not sure if it's really clear what I'm saying. It's a little bit like Charles said about the sounder sleep, that you don't do that at 11:30 at night. You work all day on it, Well, he didn't say that, but it was something like that, So how could you, Dorothy, enhance your auditory system by facilitating and putting it as the first sensorial apparatus that you want to develop in your life? Like every day, instead when I'm doing something, am I aware of what I'm hearing? Outside, close to me, far to me, Do I put music only to make noise, or do I really listen to it and to develop my skills to know how many violins are playing in the orchestra, 5 or 25? Develop the skills. It's like learning a language. Learning a language, you have to do it every day for many, many months of immersion. And then eventually we're able to speak a different language. It's kind of this, for me, you introduce kind of how to, and Liz also introduced something is like, what's the use of what we're talking about, and how can we use it in a way that produces a certain learning effect and change in quality of what we're talking about? I sort of get this idea. I'm not sure if anyone resonates on this or understands what I'm talking about.
Well, Mikhail, and I guess Katarina is saying, and maybe you're saying the same thing, that it starts with a hello, with a noticing, with being aware, just
Yes.
acknowledging, oh, I get very reactive to this, and pausing long enough to sense, oh, this is what happens in my body when I have this kind of, makes me jump, and you say hello to whatever in you is getting startled. It's just a bringing awareness, a gentle awareness
You know,
to the,
yeah.
yeah, that, am I on target?
Well, you know, yes, absolutely. I feel that saying hello means maybe in a way that I was making myself unaware because I'm using mostly a different sense, and I'm how do you say that? I'm shrinking my attention on a specific thing, and then I'm surprised that something else happens because my awareness is shrunk. So, you know, Feldenkrais' work is about awareness through movement, and life is movement. So it's about being aware 24/7, even when I sleep. You know, some masters of meditation can be fully conscious when they're quote unquote sleeping. They never really sleep, they're totally aware, but there's no activity in the mind and their body is resting. So that's rest. You know, you go out of the bed in the morning, you did not quote unquote sleep unconsciously with dreams, and you just wake up and you're pretty fresh. You didn't sleep at all. You just rested the body, no thinking in the mind. But that's a practice, and we know that's not so easy to do. And so being from a phys ed teacher, and all my life was always about movement, at least I thought. So when I started focusing, wow, was I surprised of what then movement began to mean. You know, there's so many levels of, like Dorothy said, that's why I kind of highlighted it, because it's like the levels of consciousness from being totally unconscious to fully enlightened. There's a scale of sensitivity in there. And this is what I'm interested in personally, without making something happen, but how with focusing or even TAE and methods that help us to learn more about ourselves by awakening these senses and sensory apparatus, which, you know, are limited anyway. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, welcoming. It's important. Noticing. I'll finish with this. There was somebody asked Tom Cruise, at one point before he was taking a motorcycle to jump off a mountain with his parachute. They told him, in fact, be very careful, And he said, no way. He said, be vigilant. He said, being careful has something to do with encouraging fear. Being vigilant is about being competent at what you do. So very interesting kind of shift of attention with different words. I don't know if this helps.
Mm. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mikhail. Being vigilant. Yeah.
I think we're not going to have time for breakout rooms unless we do it right now for 10 minutes. Does that seem?
Yeah. I'm just going to quickly go through these quickly. This is from last time. And then we had the two body processes, the interoception and the neuroception, which we were tying a bit together today. Then we had the Taijiquan, which Jim already read. So now we're ready for the breakout room.
I thought we were jumping to the regular room.
This is
Are
the
we? Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Hello.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, you mean you didn't? Did you find yourself, Susan? You found yourself in a breakout room?
We were in a vortex. We were in the in-between liminal space until Jim told me that I had landed back on Earth.
Oh, thank you, Jim.
Here we are.
Jim's like, "This is it. This is reality. You're here."
You're awake.
Yeah, you're awake. You're awake.
I think everybody isn't back yet, though, are they?
I can't find Katarina.
Well, she's here. Her name is here. So I guess we're all back. How was your breakout room? What did you discover?
It's great. It helps to ground me.
How, Claudia, how did it help to ground you?
How?
Yeah.
Because in the beginning I felt like I was thrown in the ocean and I had no idea which direction to go.
Uh-huh.
And then over time, like different people help to put strings together. And then in my group, I have two very competent members that
Who are they?
Dorothy and Margaret.
Oh,
Yeah, so they help to ground me further. Yeah,
wonderful.
thank you.
It's so good when we're working together as a group. And anybody else? Were you in a group, Yao?
Yes, Lynn, I was.
I would love to hear your voice. What was your breakout room like?
It was good. Susan and I, yeah, we regaled Katrina's presentation that, for me, was a wonderful way to update my perspectives of other models and other ways to approach this. And I think for me, it also, I had the visual of I think Katarina said this is a springboard. I'm a swimmer, but I'm not a diver. But I instantly went to this visualization of when I watched the Olympic diving. You know, from the very moment they come from up the back and they start ascending up the ladder to the diving board. And what is that breathing like? Do they step up with the right foot first? How does that help that rhythm? And then when they're on the board, how is the posture? And then I thought about Dorothy asking about the roof, the tongue to the roof, which is really about energy circulation, meditation focus, inner awareness, and then the physical benefits, which Katarina talked about. And all of those things, and all of these little things that can help make that dive even better. So, yeah, it was kind of nice to have that.
Thank you.
I think we spent time trying to sense into where Katarina was taking us with her method of gently starting with sensations. And first you wonder, oh, well, okay, what is this exactly? And then bit by bit, she brings in more things that help us to understand that this is a way of entering into, I would call it a safety zone, a kind of safety zone. That's how I understood it anyway.
Mm.
And the safety zone is where felt senses can form, where sleep can happen, where awakening can happen, where we can touch with the rhythm of our heart and breathing and living. So I think we kind of took time to try to take in how Katarina was bringing us into that.
Mm.
Mhm.
Thank you.
That's fascinating, Charles. The idea of like sleep going into a safety zone. And I'm not so sure that happens for me, even though the sleep can be very deep. I
Yeah,
don't have
sleep. Sometimes we have disturbing dreams and things like that in sleep. It isn't, I guess it isn't always
right
so safe, right?
and restful. I don't always wake up rested, and I find that fascinating when I think I supposedly had a deep sleep and then I don't wake up rested. It's just a fascinating subject all the way around.
I think Katarina is guiding us to good sleep. We're trying to anyway.
Hello? Ooh.
Well, it might be that in good sleep we feel safe enough to have the disturbing dreams.
Hmm.
Like we're safe enough to, as Jean would say, hear from it.
You know what I'm struck with is how I can't make myself fall asleep. I can make myself do many other things, but I can't do that. What does it take? Some inner gesture of what do they say, surrender? Or,
I think
of
Jean called
not
it
trying. What's
of
that?
invite. I think Jean called it inviting. Like we invite a felt sense, we invite sleep. We invite sleep. We invite a felt sense. We can't make a felt sense either. We can only invite it. So I think, yeah. But it's a very interesting point you're making. We can't force ourselves or make ourselves sleep. It's not. It has to come, right?
So at
Yeah.
9:44, we come to the concept of not having control.
Well, we also sort of started with the not forcing, that the not
Great
forcing
comment, Liz.
control.
I have to mention because it was on the meaning of life scale and nobody commented on it. But one of the last things on the scale is I want to be I want to disappear or become invisible. And I rate high on that scale.
And yet, Jim, you don't succeed
Well, I could
because you're quite visible. Oh, now you succeeded. Okay.
Uh-oh. That was a challenge on his birthday. Can you say that again, Jim? We've got to stop, but I didn't fully get it.
Well, it was strange in this list. I want to disappear or become invisible. I think can be taken in two ways. One, like when you fall asleep, in some sense, you disappear or become invisible. But in another sense, wanting to disappear or become invisible is a anti-engagement in life. It's saying, I don't want to be here. So it's kind of a two-way street.
What's
don't-
the other side of the street?
It's not the sunny side of the street.
It's like Herman Melville, Bartleby the Scrivener.
Yes.
Anyone knows that novella?
Oh, I love that.
I
Yeah.
would prefer not to, is what Bartleby says to everything.
Yes.
Right.
And I don't think he's taken as a role model for us either.
On your birthday,
some
you
ways.
could do whatever you want and you could prefer not to.
So
Nice.
hopefully we could all have good sleep tonight.
Yes, yes. And thank you so much, Katarina. We very much appreciate. When I go to sleep, I'm going to think of Katarina. Like this, and I just think of Katarina. Bye-bye, everybody. And again, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Jim.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jim.
I'll
Baby
see you
bump.
next week on my
Oh,
unbirthday.
yes. Happy birthday.
I'm trying to send you hearts, but it's not. It doesn't come. Wait a
You
minute.
got to go into reactions. Go into reactions and
Yes,
press.
There, there it is.
I did react.
Yes, you did.
Ah, okay. See you next week, everybody. Thank you, Katarina.